We love horror movies over here at Top 5 Scary, of course, and we know most of you guys do too, but I think it's safe to say that it's easy to get bored with the same old live action horror movies that are constantly recycled throughout Hollywood and onto our big screens. So with that being said, let's explore the world of animation. I mean, the medium isn't restricted to kid shows and Scooby-Doo, it does house many films that are rife with blood and gore. So today on Top 5 Scary Videos, I'm going to be counting down our list of the top 5 scariest animated movies of all time. Let's jump in. Coming in at 5, The Plague Dogs. Released back in 1982, this animation follows two dogs who escape from a laboratory and are hunted as possible carriers of the bubonic plague. Directed by Martin Rosen, this film is straight up triggering, and is a ruthless film that does not shy away from cruelty towards animals in the pursuit of scientific knowledge. The film has a very fitting PG-13 rating. Considering its violent imagery and thematic elements, I mean, the film literally kicks off with a drowning dog in a science lab get resuscitated by siphoning the water out of his lungs. This is a kids film, guys. Yeah, now the film itself sets out to criticize cruelty towards animals as well as animal experimentation, making this movie a very difficult watch indeed. However, saying that, it is perhaps one of the two movies on our list that might actually be okay for younger viewers to watch, but I can't promise they won't be traumatized for life. I mean, the ending has real old yellow vibes, but is way more ambiguous. The message is clear though, and its delivery truly harrowing. Coming in at 4, Watership Down.
Incredible courage and mortal fear.
A terrible thing is coming.
What do you mean?
The field.
Yet another Martin Rosen film on our list. This film is perhaps slightly more popular, but honestly just as depressing. Released in 1978, Watership Down follows a group of rabbits who are fleeing their doomed warren and face many dangers to find and protect their new home. Now, unlike our last number, this film isn't so much about the horrors of lab experimentation, but instead about the cruelty of man towards the animal kingdom. Yep, just as depressing. The movie delves into the rabbits' plight, whether through the dangers of snares, hawks, cats, and dogs, as well as the chemical and mechanical weapons of human beings. The scariest part of this movie, however, lies somewhere between the bloody General Woundwort and the Black Rabbit of Inal, aka the rabbit's version of the Grim Reaper. Watership Down, guys. Fun for the whole family. Coming in at 3, Lily Cat. Released back in 1987, this animated horror follows an expendable crew of a corporate space vessel that must stop a murderous, shape-shifting alien organism that somehow got on board. Sound familiar? However, the alien monster is not the only trouble on board. Lily Cat is essentially the result of combining Alien, The Thing, and 2001: A Space Odyssey into one giant fucked up pot. Of course, it's far less serious than those films. Saying that, it's far less serious than any of the films mentioned on our list, yet that does not diminish the horror housed within. Cats can get up to a whole lot in space, something we quickly find out in the sci-fi horror fantasy. Lily Cat is essentially an insane cat and mouse game between the crew and a malevolent entity that are wreaking havoc throughout the ship. The gore factor in this film is dialed up to 10, with it vastly outweighing the scare factor, something that would definitely traumatize any poor child that might stumble across this bizarre film. You have been warned. Coming in at 2, Seoul Station. The most recent movie on our list, Seoul Station, was released in 2016 and follows several groups of people trying to survive a zombie pandemic that unleashes itself in downtown Seoul. Now, if you're familiar with Train to Busan, you will very much appreciate this spiritual prequel, and while the medium may have changed, the fear factor is just as prevalent. The film takes place in, of course, Seoul Station, where it appears that a homeless man is patient zero of the zombie outbreak, resulting in waves after waves of flesh-eating zombies, sprinting after our characters. Now, Busan was a more brash spectacle. Seoul Station is more downbeat, instead focusing on the desolate souls trapped in life's pandemic. Now, not only that, but there is also a nice dusting of social realism to go alongside all the blood and gore, and the film's conclusion is utterly nasty. Finally, coming in at number 1, Berserk, The Golden Age Arc 3, The Advent. Released in 2013, this animated film follows Berserk 2. A year has passed since Guts parted ways with Griffith. The Band of the Hawks is plotting a rescue mission to save Griffith, who is confined to prison. Now, although the anime adaptation pales in comparison to the source material, the film is still worthy of your attention. This installment is the third and final chapter in the Golden Age arc, meaning you might have to do your research prior to going in, but once you reach this installment, hold on, because it is a bumpy ride, that's for sure. Berserk the Golden Age Arc 3, The Advent, finds the once unbeatable Griffith utterly broken and without control of his limbs after a year of severe torture in a dungeon. He then makes the very brutal decision to take his own life, which is a tough enough watch. There is far more to come, believe me. The Band of Hawk is drawn into another dimension during a solar eclipse, resulting in them coming face to face with archdemons known as the God Hand. What ensues are nightmare-inducing sequences, with one in particular that will haunt many veteran horror lovers, and that's saying something. Well, there we have it. Do you guys agree with our list? Were there any scary animations that we missed? Leave us all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below, perhaps we can do a part 2. If you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another scary vid. Until next time, see you later. Released in 1878. Now, unlike our last number, this film isn't so much about the horrors of loud. It's just words. Like, just spoken them for over 20 years, you know, like. Cats get up. Factor, something that would definitely traumatize any poor child that might stumble across this bizarre film. Now, if you're familiar with trying to flip over there. Flip the camera, flip the lights.